how long would you like to see the starters out there? And now that definitely varies between starters because certain position groups are there's it's not inked in who's going to be the starter. Like the middle linebacker group, like we assume is going to be Long and Baker, but there is room for wiggle there on the offensive line. Even though you want to keep a consistent group in front of your starting quarterback, there are still positions to be fought over, even if Tua goes out of the game. So, just starting with Tua, starting with the most obvious name, how long would you like to see Tua out there on Saturday?
See, if Tua looks good in his first drive, I say sit him. If he like looks a little rough around the edges, give him another drive. I don't say more than 3 drives, which is pretty much the first quarter. So I say no more than 3 drives, but if he looks good on the first one, let it be after the first one. Same thing with Tyreek. I don't think Tyreek plays after the first series. I don't think Teron Armstead plays at all. He didn't last preseason.
Yeah.
Kendall Lamb is going to be one to watch. I'm going to be watching him pretty closely because, like what we've said all offseason, Teron Armstead's not playing 17 games. So Kendall Lamb is who the Dolphins have pretty much appointed to be the swing tackle. So if anything happens to Austin Jackson or Teron Armstead, he's the guy that's going to be replacing them. So I am going to be interested in watching him. It looks like it's probably going to be Isaiah Wynn at left guard. It doesn't look like Liam Eichenberg's going to be playing. He has some injuries he's dealing with. Connor Williams, I would like to see for 1, maybe 2 series. I want to make sure that he can actually snap the ball properly. Other than that, I have no concerns. Robert Hunt, I want him out there as long as Tua is out there. The offensive line, I'm just going to say, offensive line, I want the starters out there as long as Tua is out there. Tyreek, don't care how long he's out there because we already know what we get from him. Everybody else, second string wise, okay, I'll just go defense. So defense wise, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, I would like to see them for 2 series. Honestly, I think 1 series would probably not be enough, especially if they just go 3 and out because they're absolute monsters over there. I would like to see at least 2 series out of them, perhaps just the first quarter. And second string, I want to see the second string play into the rest of the first half. I want to see first and second string throughout the first half. Then we can go to the absolute scrubs in the second half.
Yeah. So before I get into that, mostly down the list, I either completely agree or close enough to agreement. Tua, I might go as far as to say give him the whole first quarter because I don't think he'll play in the 3rd preseason game. So this 1 quarter is your one opportunity to look at him. At least I wouldn't want him to play in that game. I want that game to kind of be like the first game where like, okay, Skylar Thompson, Mike White, figure out who between the two of you is the least bad. All right, go. That's my idea. That's my idea for the 3rd preseason game. So
I can't disagree.
So to give him a quarter. Give him a quarter with Tyreek. Give him a drive with Tyreek. Give him a drive without Tyreek, and be like, okay, let's see what you are with your best player out there, and see what you're like out there with your 2 best players not on the field. Like I think that's a good exercise because that might be a situation that comes up. You never know. Waddle could get hurt again. Tyreek could get hurt. It's football. Anything's possible. We know that Tua himself has the issues with injuries. So let's let him go out there and prove himself against a defense that it got a little bit better, but it's still not much better than it was last year. Still a pretty bad defense. So he's not going to be taking a lot of shots or shouldn't be taking a lot of shots. It's a good defense to practice against in the sense of, all right, it's just on you to go make something happen. The defense isn't going to do a lot to stop you, so just play your game, do what you got to do. So I think it'd be a good little exercise to take Tyreek Hill off the field. I would not have Tyreek in there for more than five or six maybe snaps total and get him off the field. Offensive line, I want the entire starting crew out there except for Teron Armstead, I want Teron Armstead off the field for the entire preseason. Have the entire starting crew out there with Tua as long as Tua's out there on the field. And then I like to see Isaiah Wynn stay out there because he could potentially be competing for 2 different positions. So he's probably going to end up starting at left guard. Well, when Tua goes out, or even for that second drive, put him over at right tackle. Because, yes, we think Austin Jackson's going to be there, but he has not done enough to prove himself that he is for sure the right tackle. So Isaiah Wynn.
Plus, he also only played 2 games last year, so.
Exactly. So we already know what life is without him. And basically, ability-wise, we already know what life's out without him, anyways. So let Wynn play both places in the preseason game, and do that with Tua, and just again, this is just kind of just testing what he's best at. If best case scenario, I think he would be the left guard tackle and left guard starter, and then at tackle Austin Jackson. Eichenberg, I think, it just isn't that good at football. So the offensive line there, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, same thing. Tua's in, let them play. Tua's out. Maybe give Jeff Wilson a little bit more time to see if he has something where he can edge himself over Raheem Mostert. Defensive side of the ball, I'm not really concerned. Maybe get Jalen Phillips in there more. Get the edge rushers going, because Ogba, coming off the injury that he hasn't seen a lot of time on the field in a long time. Jalen Phillips is young and just continue that development, and then having Chubb getting back into the system with Vic Fangio. So the edge rushers, I'd like to see them get a lot of work. Everybody else across the field, if you're not a starter, go out and compete. Go out and figure yourself. If you're a starter but you're not a shoe-in, like guys like Noah Igbenogany, Eli Apple fighting for that quarterback spot, especially with guys that are out. Just see guys go out and compete will be nice. As for the Texans, just mentioned it there with their defense. We know kind of what we're getting with the Texans. They did add a lot in the offseason, so it'll be interesting to see how some of those guys play, like your Dalton Schultz, who's out there, local guy, FAU up Devin Singletary. So they've added a bunch of veterans in Robert Woods. So there's a lot of experience that got funneled into this team that is starting with a young quarterback. I'm very excited to see CJ Stroud out there.
Don't forget Dolphins' favorite Eric Rowe is now the starting safety.
I thought you were going to talk about Laremy Tunsil.
Oh, well, Larry Tunsil, yeah, Mr. 305.
Appreciate you for the pick, sir. I'm very excited to see how CJ Stroud plays. Just in terms of a fan, just as a football fan. Before I get into it, I thought he was taller. I saw a video of him and Tua talking. I thought CJ Stroud. The same thing with Justin Fields. I thought Justin Fields was taller than he is. Neither of them are Justin Fields is 6'1", 6'2". CJ Stroud's 6'2", 6'3". So I thought both of them were 6'5" when they came out. Maybe something about that Ohio State jersey that makes people look taller than they are. So, but with CJ Stroud, I'm excited to see him because he did not have a good game against the Patriots. He didn't have a lot of his main guys out there, but he didn't look good, and he's behind a pretty bad offensive line of the Texans, except for Laremy Tunsil. So I'm excited to see what the Dolphins do to him. How much pressure do you put on him? How does he react as a rookie quarterback? As an NFL fan, I'm just curious how he's going to react. But I want to see how much this defense can just make his life a living hell.
Dude,
just make it as difficult as possible. Don't take it easy on him. I want them to just be a nonstop wrecking crew when he is out there. Don't hurt the guy, obviously, but kind of give him a welcome to the NFL moment type thing. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I want to see this defense dominate. But like I said, though, we have so much starting talent on there, and it just it flashes that I do want to get them some work. I don't want to, give away our brand new defensive scheme, that Fangio spent a year working on. So I don't want them out there for too long.
Yeah, but you definitely want to see them putting together the work that they have. And I think kind of similar to how I was talking about Tua with the defense, or Tua with the Texans defense, the Texans offense with a first-year defensive head coach. I expect this offense to be more or less a mess this season for the Texans and be no better at this point than they were at the end of last year. Even with a better quarterback, I can't imagine their offense being too good. So I want to punish them. I want the defense to go out there and not show off, but hammer down. I want to see them dominate, because the Texans are a young team that doesn't have a lot of proven talent out there, and I think it's a really good opportunity for confidence after we just saw last week's performance, which we didn't get dominated, but it was the worst loss it could have been, minus getting dominated, just because how pathetic it was. Very, very excited to see the Texans team, what they offer, what CJ Stroud offers, and hopefully it's a better game than we had to watch last week. Score prediction for the Texans game, go.
For the Texans game, we probably should have done this when we were going over the Texans game.
Probably should have. I forgot it for the Falcons game, and I forgot it for the Texans game.
Professionals. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is gonna be a little bit more exciting because if starters play, I'm gonna go ahead and say 21 all scored in the first quarter, by Tua, to 16.
I'm gonna go 27-3 Dolphins.